Check, check. One, two.
Morning, good morning. Welcome to National Action Network Saturday Action Rally. We're coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on nationalactionnetwork.net, Facebook, and other live platforms. We are live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We're so pleased to be with you on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday and you hear the cry of no justice, no peace, you know this is where the action is. Our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Chairman of our board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, senior pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm Attorney Michael Hardy. We'll be with you throughout the broadcast this morning. We are so pleased and honored today to have for our inspirational word segment the Bishop Orlando Finleta, senior pastor of New Hope Christian Fellowship Church in the great borough of Brooklyn. Of course, if it's Saturday, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, is here, along with the Change Choir. And if it's Saturday, our dear sister, coordinator of all things here at National Action Network, and also special liaison to Reverend Al Sharpton, will be here to ask you what's on your mind. That's right. She wants to know what you're thinking about, brothers and sisters, and there's so much happening across the country, across the state, in the city, in your own household probably, that there should be something on your mind that you want to share with Katrina Jefferson. If you've not had a chance to share with Miss Jefferson with regard to what's on your mind, you can always do so. You can call 877-626-4651, or you can email what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, so you can let her know what is on your mind. Of course, it's Saturday, and the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is going to be in the house back from the Essence Festival where they were last weekend. So you want to call somebody, you want to tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Sharpton is in the house, and we're all getting ready to come to you. Brothers and sisters, we also remind you that on Monday, July 10th, beginning at 6 p.m., the NAN Youth Huddle will meet. Please spread the word and get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call us at 877-626-4651 or email nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Also, today, 5 p.m., today is Saturday. Tomorrow, 5 p.m., Sunday, you want to make sure that you're tuning in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. That's today, Saturday, 5 p.m. Tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m., you want to tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. And brothers and sisters, right now, our dear sister, Jay Spencer-Hilaire, is going to come and give us some additional information that you need to know. Let's welcome her.
Good morning. And thank you for those who are tuning in to another Saturday Action Rally with National Action Network, and to all of you who are here in the House of Justice. Essence Fest 2023. Rev Sharpton traveled to New Orleans, Louisiana for the annual Essence Festival AKA the Party with a Purpose. Over the course of several days, he co-moderated a panel, spoke at several events, met with Vice President and many celebrities in attendance. On Saturday night, Rev. Sharpton was featured on the main stage at the Superdome, where over 60,000 people were in attendance. He announced National Action Network's upcoming March on Washington next month, talked about the ongoing fight to make the private sector accountable to their commitments following the death of George Floyd and racial justice protests. In light of the Supreme Court's recent ruling dismantling affirmative action in higher education, Rev. Sharpton reminded the packed arena why holding the private sector honest when it comes to things like business contracts is more important than ever. Rev. Sharpton attended the Color Purple Luncheon, where he was greeted by Oprah Winfrey herself. He also co-moderated a panel with 5 mayors from around the country: New York City Mayor Eric Adams, LA Mayor Karen Bass, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb, New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, and Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. They discussed problems in urban America, from crime to a lack of funding for a host of programs and initiatives. Rev. Sharpton also met a few times with Vice President Kamala Harris, where he discussed voting rights and the threat of ongoing efforts to diminish those fundamental rights. The leader of National Action Network also spoke with singers, actors, rappers, and members of the hip-hop community in attendance about the upcoming March on Washington and why their voices are important at this 60th anniversary march. All roads continue to lead to Washington. In less than 2 months, civil rights leaders, activists, clergy, members of the Black, Asian, Jewish, Latino, Native, LGBTQ, and other communities will all gather in the nation's capital for the March on Washington. National Action Network and the Drum Major Institute have been busy organizing for this 60th anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic march, which won't be a commemoration, but rather a continuation of his fight for freedom, justice, and equality. This year's March on Washington will focus on protecting and preserving voting rights, which are under threat across the nation. Criminal justice reform, including police reform, mass incarceration, and calling for federal hate crime legislation amid a rise in such crimes and domestic terrorism. On the heels of recent Supreme Court rulings stripping away affirmative action, as well as protections for the LGBTQ+ community, we must raise our voices in unison at the march. Rev. Sharpton, Martin Luther King III, and Andrea Waters King will lead the continuation march as we evaluate progress achieved and highlight the work that remains. We will convene at 11 a.m. in front of the Lincoln Memorial in the nation's capital on August 26th. The March on Washington will be a cross-cultural and intergenerational demonstration to show that an attack on one is an attack on all of us. For more information on the march and to sign up for a free bus, please visit nationalactionnetwork.net. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us also live via stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us And, or if you are not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit www.National Action Network or call 877-626-4651 or text the word uppercase NAN to 59769. Welcome.
All right, we want to thank Jay for those messages. Right now, brothers and sisters, Katrina Jefferson, coordinator here at National Action Network's House of Justice, special liaison to Reverend Sharpton, is here to ask you what's on your mind. Good morning, Katrina.
Well, good morning, Attorney Hardy, and good morning to each and every one of you who are here live here at the House of Justice, to those that are watching us by way of live streaming on our Facebook pages and on our website, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and to those that are listening by way of WLIB 1190 AM, welcome to another weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind? Well, just as Attorney Hardy has said, you, the people, and the community have the opportunity to share your thoughts, your viewpoints, your perspectives with us at the National Action Network by emailing us 24 hours a day at what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, or you may call us at 877-626-4651. We've got a seasoned saint, one of our lifetime members, who brought it to my attention this morning that she has something to share with us. Good morning, dear mother. Give the people your name, let them know where you're from, and share with us what's on your mind today.
Good morning, Nan family. And as Mike said, good morning, good morning. I'd like to share with you guys that today is going to be my last day with you guys for a while. But I'm going to be like the quartet guy said, I'm going to leave you. I just want to leave you in the hands of the Lord. And Mike, Katrina, Reb, you guys have to give me a rap sheet because I'm going to 5 different states. And I need some numbers so I don't worry Mike to death and say, Mike, I want to know, is there a network in this country, in this state, in this state? I'm going to Charlotte, going to Ocala, I'm going to Orlando, I'm going to Charlotte, and my last stop is going to be Atlanta. So you guys give me some numbers.
Absolutely, and you'll have our personal cell as well. That was Mother Ivy, one of our lifetime members here at the network, for those who are not here physically in the building. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and briefly share with us what's on your mind.
Oh, Herman Francis. The apathy and indifference of people in the state of New York on this past July 4th. The Association of African Americans Life and History, based on New York State legislature, had designated the second Monday in July as African Liberation Day. Why? Because in 1827, July 4th was elimination of slavery in the state of New York. The reason why we want to educate the people, because California legislature, a commission came back, and New York State is the second state in the United States to have a commission about reparation of the state of New York. So this coming Monday at 149th Street in Morris Island, Lincoln Hospital Auditorium, we're going to explain to people why it's so important. I leave with this. In this month of July, they keep on talking about the United States being one of the greatest countries this world ever seen. Well, in July of 1948, President Harry S. Truman signed Executive Order 9981. And what was Executive Order 9981 when you research it? It was the desegregation of the U.S. military.
All right, that was on Brother Herman's mind, our resident historian here at the network. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning. My name is Chaplain Sandra Mitchell, born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx, baptized in Brooklyn, so I'm all over the place. I want to share with you something that people don't often talk about. The Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act and the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act. We're complaining about we rent, we pay our rent, and we don't get services. So it's time to rise up and to own our apartments. We come from homeowners. When we were enslaved and when we came out of slavery, we were owning our own. And so now it's time to do it again. Let's do it again. Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act and Community Opportunity to Purchase Act. I want to see how it's going to be done in Harlem because it's being done in the Blue Down Bronx. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. Good morning, dear sister. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning, I'm Winifred Ayuk from Brooklyn, New York, lifetime member of NAN. What's on my mind? I told a friend this week I'm coming here today to thank Reverend Al Sharpton for his service, dedication, and sacrifice to humanity and his broad vision. He said, "You are going to do that? That is licking his boot." I said, "You mean it? Do you know what it means to give somebody 1 second of airtime around the globe? Do you know how many people had asked me, do you really want to speak to somebody? Because I have a lot going on in my mind." I said, with him here, it's just a question of being brief and being polite. This is a fantastic opportunity. I said thank you to Reverend Al Sharpton for his service to humanity, and thank you for all the members who have kept him strong over the years. That's what's in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for sharing that. Yes, we always salute and we celebrate and uplift our leader, certainly throughout the week and year. Good morning. Give us your name. Let us know where you're from and share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning, Miss Katrina and the NAN family. My name is Crystal Glover. I wrote a poem for the young man who was slain in Riverbank Park. I'll just do it quickly. I went to the park to see you today. It was empty, empty, empty. I went to the park to see where you laid. Empty, empty, empty. Got to the park to see where you were slain. No blood, no sight of pain. It looks as if nothing happened. Body was riddled with bullets from a maniac's rage. Young man, 15 years old, died with nothing left to gain. Police won't tell us his name. Riverside Park is where it took place. It's more than a shame. It's more than a shame. And we don't know his name. He was 15 years old. He was murdered in Riverside Park, body riddled with bullets, and it's as if nothing happened.
Thank you. Good morning. Give us your name. Share with us where you're from, and tell us. Well, you got to give me a second because we're live, and share with them what is on your mind.
Okay, my name is Jerry Roebuck. It's good to be back in New York. I'm a native New Yorker, but I'm here today from Kissimmee, Florida, where I've been residing for almost the past decade. I'm a retired educator, businessman. I'm also the person that created Black Expo that hopefully many of you went 2 years ago at Jacob Javits Convention Center. I know Reverend Sharpton. I've known him over 45 years. Great, hardworking person. I'm so inspired by him. Also, Attorney Hardy, who I've known. And I'm here because I hopefully wanted to share with Reverend Sharpton the work I'm doing in the state of Florida regarding banned books. I have a nonprofit that I'm distributing Black history books to students in the state of Florida when school goes back in August, and also in February during Black History Month. So I'm hoping to be able to share that information because it is a serious challenge in the state of Florida, if any of you watch the news, as you know. But I worked for New York Public Library in this city for 18 years, and every branch in Harlem, including the Schomburg Library. And I was inspired by a lot of people, and we are not going to let people keep our young people from knowing their history.
And tell the people the name of the nonprofit and how they can find you.
Sure, my website is letthemread.letthemteach.com. Let them read, letthemteach.com. And you'll see a video on there that talks about the work I'm doing and my confrontation to Governor Ron DeSantis that put my life in jeopardy.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. And for those of you who are not here, we'll make sure to have that information available for you on our resource table. Good morning, because we got to get our anchor. Give us your name. Let us know. Let the people know where you're from, and briefly share with us what's on your mind.
Oh, yes, thank you. My name is Chanel Jordan. I'm from Far Rockaway, Queens. I just want to say thank you to NAN, to the National Action Network. I'm the creator, owner of USH. It means USH, and USH means Unity, Strength, and Honesty. I created this clothing line, but it's actually more than a clothing line because I'm pushing a message. It's for all nationalities, all diversities, and cultures. And this is one of my banners that I had just would like to bring today to present to you guys. And yes, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chanel and Ush. Good morning. Anchoring us with the word. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and share with us what's on your mind.
Good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. My name is Sister Reverend Word. I'm from Heaven, born in Harlem. I'm National Action Network lifetime member, and I'm 72 years old and new. Of course, what's on my mind is Bible scriptures. In particular, Christ Jesus was really critically against hypocrisy and hypocrites. And what we're witnessing today is hypocrisy. In terms of these judges decided that affirmative action is against the Constitution, which we know that is not right. But I want to give special thanks to ethical lawyers who are educated and strong enough and courageous enough to battle these hypocrites. We are fortunate enough to have Attorney Hardy. We're fortunate to have Legal Night that is full of ethical lawyers. But in particular, I want to give a high five to these lawyers, these ethical lawyers, who are really going against the legacy program. Because the legacy program also favors particular races of people. We can't have that in one direction. We can't have it in the other direction either. So again, we have to really support these ethical lawyers with our attendance at the March on Washington. Because when we march on Washington, we're supporting these lawyers too, indirectly and directly. We're encouraging them to represent us in these higher courts to the best of their ability. So I want to thank all the National Action Network members, and anybody who's not a member, please join. It's a gift from God that we have an opportunity to be members of National Action Network. So God bless y'all and good day.
All right, thank you, Chaplain Word. And we got a couple of quick announcements that I'm going to share. One from the NAN Education Committee, their third Saturday meeting scheduled for just after the rally at 11:30 a.m. on July 15th. So if education is an area of focus that is important to you, it matters to you, you want to impact, influence, and empower our brightest leaders of tomorrow and today, please join the NAN Education Committee on July 15th at 11:30 a.m. That is next Saturday, immediately following the Saturday Action Rally. Also, just a reminder, the Political Action Committee, its fifth Saturday Voter Education Forum will be Saturday, July 29th at 12:30 p.m. And the area of focus is climate change, action, and justice. Trust me, it's a conversation that you do not want to miss, especially if you were anywhere on the East Coast a couple of weeks ago where we were walking about and the sky was just a hazy hue of reddish orange for a couple of days, right? And so July 29th, 12:30 p.m., you really want to be here and not only be a part of the conversation, but certainly find out how you can influence climate change in your individual community. And last, we got an email that came in from 12 Vales. Good morning, Reverend Sharpton, Katrina Jefferson, Attorney Hardy, NAN Youth Huddle, NAN House of Justice, Impact Television, Facebook, YouTube, and all forms of social media. What's on my mind is the wrongfully convicted. I am so proud of Dr. Yusuf Salam for running for city council and winning. I just wonder, will his win help our brother Nolan Farrell as he seeks exoneration? We talk about the wrongful convictions and push to right to wrong and push for clean slate legislation. But is it helping Nolan Farrell and others seeking exoneration? And that was from 12 Vales. And that concludes this weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind. Keep in mind, folks, everything that you heard here were simply the thoughts and the viewpoints of the contributors and do not reflect those of the National Action Network directly. And you can interact with us 24 hours a day. Yes, that's 24 hours a day by emailing us here at the network, what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. What's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, or you may call us at 877-626-4651. We want to hear from you, so send us your thoughts so that we can share yours next week. Back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right, Katrina Jefferson, thank you so much for this week's What's on Your Mind. Right now, brothers and sisters, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
People come, people go, people go. Your life has been out of control, You're confused, Don't worry, yourself. It will get better, It will get better, It will get better. God is in control. Find your praise within your heart. Hold it close. Don't ever depart. It gets cold. In the night. But you'll be alright. It will get better. It will get better. It will get better. God is in control. Whatever state I find myself in, I learn how to be secure, knowing that God will supply all my needs and He'll work things out for my good. It will get better. It will get better. It will get better. It will get better. It will get God is in control.
And that was our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by the Change Ensemble. Right now, brothers and sisters, we're going to bring you in the house. In the house is all about the work of the committees of National Action Network and the director of New York City operations, the Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird, also senior pastor of Mother AME Zion Church here in the great borough or great village of Harlem. See, I'm trying to promote it. That's all right. But he'll be here to bring us in the house this morning with a little word from Reverend Bird.
Thank you, Attorney Hardy, and good morning, National Action Network. I hope you heard what the choir just sang. Regardless of what you are going through, they want you to know, and I want to remind you, it will get better. The committees of the National Action Network are committed in every sense of the word to ensuring that concerning our people, the issues that we face, that they will get better, not through wishful thinking or hopeful thinking, but by agitating the gravel, being active in the trenches, and doing the necessary hard work for our community in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, and also following our founder and president, the Reverend Al Sharpton of the National Action Network. Coming to the stage at this moment is a hard-working committee chairperson who is committed to the work surrounding our incarcerated brothers and sisters all over this country, particularly here in New York State. Put your hands together as we welcome the chairperson of our Second Chance Committee, Brother Victor Page. Show him some love.
Thank you, Pastor Bird. Thank you, Pastor Bird. And thank you, Reverend Sharp and National Action Network and everybody who support the Second Chance Committee and work that we've been doing for so many years. So the Second Chance Committee was founded in 2009 by myself, my wife, Mary Arnold, and Dennis Levy, 3 formerly incarcerated NAN members for the purpose of assisting formerly incarcerated persons and their families as they navigate the reentry process from prisons and jails and reentry back into our communities, as well as to provide support for the families of those incarcerated. The Second Chance Committee is partnered with a diverse group of criminal justice advocates and policy reform advocates that are working and advocating for reforms in our criminal legal system and policies related to the conditions of confinement in our prisons and jails for all populations of individuals. The goals and purposes of the Second Chance Committee reflect the overall mission of the National Action Network Foundation as a civil rights organization that advocates for systemic changes that is humane, fair, and just for all people. So, since May 2023, the Second Chance Committee has participated in a collaboratively organized 3 rallies for the exoneration of 2 NAN members, Reverend Keith Gatson and Nolan Farrell. We also participated and went to Albany in monthly advocacy organizational meetings to advocate for the passage of criminal justice legislation, more specifically, the Clean Slate Act and the Wrongful Conviction Act. And I'd like to say and thank all of the National Action Network members and all of you all who came to Albany on many occasions, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning to meet the bus, to go to Albany, to meet with our legislators, to talk with our legislators, to convince them that these 2 bills need to be passed. In one of my previous updates, I gave the specifics of the Clean Slate Act, what it will do, and it will seal people's past criminal records who have felonies and misdemeanors on their records. 8 years for felonies and 3 years for misdemeanors, as long as you haven't gotten any trouble since then. That's a welcome piece of news for me. I've been waiting 25 years for this. So for all of those who have had criminal justice involvement and have been reformed, have done great things with your lives, have moved past the past history, this is something that we have been working on for a very long time. And I'd like to say the Second Chance Committee has been very instrumental in making both of these bills get passed in this legislative session. We're currently waiting for the governor's signature for those bills to be officially implemented into our New York State legislative laws. Give yourselves a hand for everybody who was a part of that. Yes, fell off, so let me take it off. It must be wanting me to hold it in my hand. So the Second Chance Committee also participated in closed Rikers rallies, in qualified immunity, and the Treatment Not Jails Act. We participated in 2 closed Rikers rallies along with other advocates and organizations. The Second Chance Committee regularly goes to Rikers Island on a monthly basis to do voter registration for those that are pretrial detainees. I am one of the lead coordinators for this Voters' Rights Initiative that is happening on Rikers Island. We will be implementing a voter educational curriculum in Rikers Island beginning in September, where we'll be not only going monthly to register people to vote, we will also be doing the educational curriculum piece, which is so important for people to understand why they vote, but more importantly for those of our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated who feel that they are locked up and locked out. Well, guess what? That's not the truth. we're going to make sure that they know it's not the truth, but we also going to make sure that they have the opportunity to exercise their constitutional right by voting while they're incarcerated. The Second Chance Committee has been advocating consistently for criminal justice change and criminal justice reform for many years. A lot of you have been a part of this here, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, but guess what? The work and the fight is not over. We got a long, long way to go. One of the other criminal justice bills that we were successful in getting passed is the Wrongful Conviction Act. And for the most part, previously, people did not have the abilities to challenge wrongful conviction, like even if they pled guilty. Well, guess what? This law now changes that. So people who even were coerced in most cases to plead guilty will now have a better opportunity to challenge their wrongful conviction act if they can prove that there was something that happened in the course of their case, any evidence that might have not been turned over at the point of pretrial or even at trial that was soon found to be, oh, okay, I got you, to be exculpatory evidence. Sorry. So I'm going to end it with that. Thank you so much, and hope to see y'all in the next legislative session.
All right, thank you, Victor, so much. Victor Pate, always out there, out front, on the front lines. Right now, brothers and sisters, the Change Ensemble under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
The blood that Jesus shed for me way back on Calvary, the blood that gives me strength from day to day. It will never lose its power. Oh, it soothes my doubts, and it calms
that is the Change Ensemble under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Right now, brothers and sisters, it is our honor and a privilege this morning to have with us for our inspirational word segment, Bishop Orlando Finlata, Senior Pastor of New Hope Christian Fellowship in the great borough of Brooklyn. Let's welcome him this morning.
Good morning, NAN. It is always good to be here in the House of Justice. Seems like forever since I've been here, but it is good to be with you this morning. Wow, I'm inspired already. The blood will never lose its power. I want to thank the Lord for our leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, for the chairman of the board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and for all of you being here today. I'm joined by my two bodyguards. My twin daughters are here with me, Jessica and Raquel. Will you all stand? Jessica and Raquel is here with me. They act as my bodyguard. I want to share a thought with you this morning coming from the 137th division of the Psalm. Very familiar. Just want to read a few verses. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hang our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Allow me for the next 8.5 minutes to share with you from this topic. Don't lose your song. Don't lose your song. Singing can be done to express our experiences, to express how we feel, to express what we're going through. The blues and much of country music is often used to express specifically sorrow and how people are feeling. But I want to suggest to you today that in spite of the crazy world that we are living in, and my God, the world is crazy, in spite of crazy votes by the Supreme Court, I came to encourage us this morning, don't lose your song. In spite of mass shootings and unemployment and lack of affordable housing in our community, I came to inspire us and to encourage us this morning, don't lose your song. At this time in Scripture, the children of Israel were in Babylonian captivity. Don't forget, Israel is a nation that God chose to establish a covenant. And God said to their forefathers, Abraham, I will be your God. You will be my people. I will protect you. I will defend you. I will watch over you. But now they find themselves in captivity. And their captors, it seems as though the captors are taunting them, telling them, sing us one of those songs. In other words, they were saying, say God is good now. Say how mighty God he is now. Sing us one of those songs of Zion. May I suggest to you that the children of Israel failed to recognize that even in the taunting, their captors were making a way out. What do you mean? Very simple. The Bible says that God inhabits the praises of his people. If the enemy can keep our mouth shut, the enemy will take the victory away from us. I suggest to you that it doesn't matter what you're facing, it doesn't matter what they're doing to us, it doesn't matter what they say about us, don't lose your song. Israel said, we hung our harps. In other words, they said, we resign. We're not going to sing anymore because we are captors. We're not going to sing anymore because we are slaves. National Action Network, I came to remind you that you have to keep singing. You have to keep singing when the Supreme Court act crazy. You have to keep singing when they talk about us. You have to keep singing even when they incarcerate us. You have to keep singing because singing brings joy. They said, we're not singing anymore. They failed to recognize that if they continue to sing, even their song will change their perspective. Attorney, believe it or not, tomorrow is my 60th birthday. And I have been in church my entire life. And here's what I found out, that God doesn't stay in heaven and pull strings. God doesn't stay in heaven and do things unless he uses human vessel. So if we are going to experience a change, there's something for us to do. I've sat down these last few weeks and said, well, everything that they fought for, everything that they gave us is being taken away from us while we are enjoying or living our best life. I ask folks, how you doing? I'm living my best life. While we're living our best life, they're taking away gains that our forefathers fought for us. Can I be transparent? I just met with a group of Caribbean American leaders. And I said to them, how many of you all voted in the 2016 election? Some raised their hands, some didn't. I said, okay, here's another clarifying question. How many of you all are eligible to vote, but didn't vote? And a few raised their hand. I said, with all due respect, leaders, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Because the mess that we're experiencing today is because you did not vote. We are in trouble today because you chose that your vote wasn't important. I only hope now, when your son and your daughter can't get to the school that they want to get to, you realize it's because you were complacent. Don't lose your song. Keep on singing. Singing brings strength. Keep on singing. Singing brings the glory of God. Keep on singing. Singing brings the favor of God. Keep on singing our ancestor song. Whatever you need to sing, sing. If it's steal away to Jesus, sing. If it's I ain't got long to stay here, sing. If it's abide with me, sing. If it's soon and very soon we're going to see the King, sing. If it's blessed assurance, Jesus is mine, sing. Don't lose your song, because the God that we serve, the God that we serve, I said the God that we serve will bring us through. When? I don't know. How? I don't know. But I know one thing. His promises are true. He's just asking us to do our part. Reverend Sharpton says it all the time. Stay in your lane. If your lane is to march, then march. If your lane is to pay the bill, then pay the bill. Whatever your lane is, stay in your lane. Keep on singing. Victory is ours. God bless you.
We want to thank Bishop Orlando Finleta, Senior Pastor, New Hope Christian Fellowship in Brooklyn. Right now, the Change Choir. under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Right now, brothers and sisters, get on your feet because we are bringing to you the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Around 32, 33 years ago, here in New York, in the middle of fighting several controversial cases, I got a call from a lady that told me they had arrested a grandson or son of another friend of hers and falsely accused them of raping and brutalizing a woman in Central Park. We went down, there wasn't many of us that stood up for those boys because we believed their mother and we believed the grandmother. There was a businessman, major real estate tycoon, that was popular in the city at the time. He took out ads in the newspaper saying that they ought to give those boys the death penalty. This is before they even tried the boys, before they were a conviction. He called the death penalty. And those boys were convicted, went to jail, and served time for something they didn't do. But if you keep on believing and you keep on praying, here we are 30 some odd years later, and one of those boys is going to the city council. The other of those boys is lecturing ex-offenders and is one of our community leaders and is here right here every Saturday morning. Carrie Weiss. If you don't give up, no matter how dark it is, there's a light somewhere. If you don't give up, if you don't give out, your change will come. Your change.
was listening this morning to my friend, Reverend Orlando Friendly, and as he was talking, and I thought about how many of you know my story. I grew up, father was a businessman, moved us out to Hollis, Queen, then abandoned us. I ended up in the projects in Brownsville, growing up on welfare. But throughout the switch, when it looked like the bottom had fell out of our family, my mother never lost her song. My mother sung when she was driving a Cadillac in Hollis, and she sung when she was standing on line to get her food stamps. If you don't lose your song, because you're not singing for your captors, you singing to the Lord whose song is committed to. That's why they call them the songs of Zion. And I want Orlando to know I've been through ups and downs, and he and I faced controversies and days that the community was with us and days they was not with us, but it doesn't matter. We're going to sing the Lord's song, even in a strange land. And if we keep on singing, your change will come. Your change will come. Your change. Just keep on singing. Your change. I know it will. Your change. Oh, change will. Oh, change will. Oh, your change will come. Your change. Don't you give up. Your change. I know it will. Your change. Oh, your change. Yes, it will. Your change. Change will. National Action Network, Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Give Chris and the band, the mini band some. And certainly give a hand to our inspirational speaker, Bishop Orlando Finlay. Bishop Finlater and I, and NAN and Bishop Finlater go way back, been part of each other's lives. And I'm glad he said, where's his two daughters? Y'all stand up. I'm glad he said his two daughters are his bodyguards. Because my two daughters think I'm their bodyguard. And my grandson swears I'm his bodyguard. So when the rally over, I want y'all Finlater girls to come in the back and teach them what bodyguarding daddy and granddaddy means. I was so happy, even before he preached, I was shouting in the back. I finally found some daughters that understand how this thing goes. Let me thank Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, our chairman. Our chairman, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, who spoke last Saturday in my absence, and certainly we enjoyed him. And of course, our own head of operations, Reverend Malcolm Byrd, stood in the gap. And we're glad to have that service. Let me also say that one of the things that was important to me, and I'm here, I only miss about 2 or 3 Saturdays a year, but we're going to speak on Saturdays very seriously, because this is not about, you know, I get so tired of performative ministers that are not active ministers. And we need to stop acting like the pulpit is a stage and act like it is a pulpit. One of the things that bothers me about many of our clergy leaders, and I was listening when Bishop was talking about some of our Caribbean leaders, but it's all of our leaders, and all of us, is some of us act as though we were born for God to serve us rather than us serve God. I keep telling you, and I get in trouble and I don't care. Anytime you go to church where the pastor's aid committee is bigger than the missionary board, there's something wrong. I go to some churches, pastor's aid committee, where y'all stand, half the church stand up. Missionaries, about 3 old folks that hardly can get to the door, get up. What is the purpose of the church? Is to serve people. Let us welcome our Impact Television family. So if we're not serving, I mean, Jesus said, the greatest is your servant. Nowhere in the Bible did it tell you to build tabernacles and all to the prophet or the priest. It was they would build them to God. We have now gotten into this whole era of building these things to honor those that claim to be the men and women of God, which they should be honored, but they should not be exalted beyond the service that God called them for. And that is why I'm very, very careful about who we have come to the House of Justice. Reverend Stephen Marshall, who is one of our longtime sons in the movement and one of our leaders here, selects our inspirational speakers most weeks. And that's because of he knows the orientation. We give Marshall a big hand. In that light, next Saturday, there's a book out that I want everybody to really read called Searching for Agabus. Now, most of y'all don't know who Agabus was. And I'm talking about you Bible scholars that know the 17th chapter of every book, the 5th verse, but don't know Agabus. And the reason I know you didn't know Agabus, because I didn't know him. So don't feel bad. This book, Searching for Agabus, is embracing authenticity and finding your way to you. One of the things that I've found, I do my morning thoughts on Instagram, is that most people never find out their calling. They don't find out their purpose. And I tell you often that God does not make a mistake. I fly a lot, and I look at how they design cities. Last Saturday, I was in New Orleans 3 days around the Essence Festival, which I speak every year. All of it by design, New Orleans, New York, whatever. Well, if there are designs that the universe functions on, sun never bumps into the moon, planets never collide, everything operates on perfect precision, then why do you think God got to you and made his first mistake? You are not a mistake. You were an intention of God. You got the key to life is to find out what God intended for you to do. Not what you want to do, but intended for you to do. Some of y'all like singing, so you'll get up and sing, but if that wasn't your gift, you can't do that. Some of y'all are jealous of other people's gifts. But if you worked on your gift, you wouldn't have room to be jealous of nobody else. I can't do what Finlay could do, and he can't do what I do. But we can help each other do what each other does. And that's why this book is so important, Searching for Agabus. And y'all know the author. You didn't know he wrote the book. Is our own national board member, the pastor of the First Corinthian Baptist Church of Harlem, Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron. And Reverend Walron is going to be here next Saturday with me. I'll be here with him. We're going to speak, and I'm going to speak, and then he's going to sign some of the books. I want everybody to be prepared to be here next Saturday and get a book and sign the books. And I told him this morning on the phone that you're going to have to sign all the books. Now, I am older than him. I signed, when my last book came out, I signed 350 books in one night. Reverend Jackson came, Jesse was 81 when he came the last time. He signed, and he got Parkinson's. He signed about 50 books. So I want to see how long young Reverend Walron can last. I was listening, you know, this age thing gets a little interesting to me because I heard my friend, I was listening in the back of the radio, and I heard my friend Jerry Roback. Stand up, Jerry, stand up. He was, as he said, he brought Black Expo to New York, and it was huge, Javits Center, and been committed, and never was in the entertainment world, but not of the entertainment world, and always had a vision for his people. But I heard him say he'd known me 45 years. What he didn't tell you is how he and Attorney Hardy used to bring me to daycare. And I appreciate them. We never crossed on the red light. They took good care of me, JT. One of the things that we dealt with at Essence last week, let me tell you, the inspirational speaker, Bishop, had it right. Many of us don't understand that the fight we're in, the reason that we are marching on August 26th, is this is not just one thing after another. There is a committed, energetic movement to reverse everything that was achieved in the last 60 years in this country. It is intentional, it is strategic, it is well financed. And if we don't fight back, you're going to wake up one morning and all of it will be gone. That's right. That's right. They have already rolled back women's right to choose. Then they came back last week and killed affirmative action. Yes. And let me tell you something. I spoke at the Superdome the other night in New Orleans, 60,000 people, and I'm going to say it here. Don't let them act as though that the ruling by the Supreme Court on affirmative action is limited to admissions in the colleges. It starts there, but it's not going to end there, because 2 days after the ruling, Donald Trump, who probably will be the Republican nominee, said, "Thank me for putting 3 folks on the court, because if I get back in, I'm going to outlaw all diversity programs, inclusion programs, and everything else." They have the basis now to say, key line in this decision, is they said that race consideration violates the 14th Amendment. It's unconstitutional. Now, that means that diversity in jobs, unconstitutional. Race factor in getting contracts, unconstitutional. They're now saying that grants, I've talked to a guy yesterday, said that he had started a scholarship program, big black businessman, supports National Action Network. He said, my lawyers told me that I cannot continue to fund grants for black students because saying black students is unconstitutional. Because it's race. Many of you are on jobs now because they had to hire a certain amount of blacks. If they fire you and you come right here for us to deal with the racism in the job, they don't have to answer about race now because the Supreme Court just said it's unconstitutional. That wasn't bad enough. They went and said that this woman that had a social media platform said that I don't want to have anything about homosexuals on my platform, freedom of speech. Problem is that she had nobody that was trying to use her platform. So now they've established a precedent, Attorney Hardy, where you don't even need a victim to remedy something because there was nothing to remedy. But here's what it is. If they give you the right to say, according to my religion, I'm not going to deal in the public with gays. And I know I'm stepping on some of y'all's toes. I don't believe in that. It ain't whatever. But the moment they give you the right not to deal in the public square with gays, it will give them the right to deal in the public square with blacks. Or poor folks, or Latinos. You can deal with whatever you want to in your house, in your church. But if you're going on regulated public space, you cannot use race or sexuality. But this court has now made it constitutional. Same time. This week, a lot of y'all missed this. I was listening as Victor Pate was talking about how we're going to continue fighting on these cases, wrongful convictions in Queens, and how we're going to continue. And I know y'all took the 4th off, but I don't care how it is. We got to keep marching out there in Queens. I'm going to come out there myself late this month. But one of the things that a lot of y'all missed in all the furor, we certainly reacted with affirmative action, certainly reacted when they dealt with the public outing of gays. And we certainly and rightfully reacted when they canceled Biden's forgiveness of student loan debt. But one that got under the radar, Hardy, was they refused to hear a case of a man named Tony Clark in Mississippi. Tony Clark appealed to the Supreme Court saying that he was tried and convicted by a racist jury, that the prosecutors had selectively took all the blacks off the jury. And he ended up with a jury with 11 whites and 1 black. The court refused to hear Tony Clark's case. But in 2019, they heard the case of Curtis Flowers out of Mississippi and said you cannot have juries that are decided by race. By them now turning this down, you can now stack juries based on race, and the Supreme Court said we ain't even gonna hear it. Same time in Oklahoma, got called yesterday, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, sister of the man Terrence Crutcher that was shot and killed by a policewoman in Tulsa a few years ago. They have a superintendent of public instruction down there named Ryan Walters. He's been against critical race theory, but now he is teaching, instructing that the Tulsa massacre of 1921 had nothing to do with race. I'm talking about he's the head of public instruction in Tulsa. He's saying y'all cannot teach in the schools that what happened in Tulsa had anything to do with race. Mother Fletcher, 109 years old, was here the other Saturday, about 3 Saturdays ago, one of the few survivors of the Tulsa massacre. Well, Reverend, that's just isolated. At the same time that he is saying that you can't do it in Tulsa, DeSantis is taking black history out of the schools in Florida. I'm trying to link the dots so you'd understand there is a concerted effort to turn back all that was achieved from our rights to everybody else's rights, and you sitting up trying to fight between who should and shouldn't have rights when they're going to take everybody's rights away. That's why we're going to Washington August 26th. Guy called me the other day on radio. Said, Reverend Al, why we keep marching? I said, well, tell me the last national march we had. He said, I said, go ahead. What do you mean keep? We have not been marching. They've been doing all of this to us, and there's never been a collective response. And in our silence, they say, oh, they're cool now. They're not even angry. They're not even upset. And the bad part about it, Orlando, is that those on the right are marching, organizing, electing folk. They have taken our tactics and used them on us. And while you talking about I ain't marching no more, they are marching and rallying and making the Senate and the Supreme Court put things through. Bishop was right. Everybody that said in 2016 that I ain't voting, I don't like Hillary, you did put in effect, you were effective. You put 3 conservatives on the Supreme Court. I'm talking about all you super duper revolutionary brothers don't believe in voting. Well, your child won't go into Ivy League school. Your business brother with economic empowerment will not get a contract. You put them on the court. Nobody said Hillary was perfect, but we said you go into politics for your best alternative. I disagree with the Clintons on some things, but Hillary would not have put 3 people on the Supreme Court to do what was done. Well, Reverend, I just couldn't vote for a woman. Well, then your mama shouldn't have brought you in the world if you ain't got love for a woman.
Teach us, Reverend. Teach us. Teach us.
I mean, what kind of schizophrenic would curse the womb that brought him? Jesus honored his mother. Everybody in the Bible honored our mother and father. But now you done got big enough to ride a bicycle without training wheels. And women ain't good enough for you. You want them to walk behind you. If I told my mother to walk behind me, I'd better be running. this kind of madness. And they know how to play on us. Polls come out. I'm going to deal with a Politics Nation this evening. Polls come out, some black men have gone to Trump. Why? It's Trump that put them on the bench. There were unemployed black men. You black men that want construction jobs, Trump just took that from you.
That's right. That's right.
You black men that want a business loan, can't get black business loan. Trump just took that from you. Well, I just think Biden's too old. Trump ain't but 3 or 4 years younger than Biden. Well, I just don't like they gave everything to women. Black woman on the Supreme Court, black woman vice president. If women getting empowered threatens your manhood, there's something wrong with you. If women got to step back to make you feel like you a man, there ain't nothing wrong with them stepping up. There's something wrong with your manhood. Your insecurity is making you go to somebody who has done everything he could to tell you I'm not with the black community. One of the rappers called me this week. I'm not going to call his name. Dominique can tell you after if you get her in the corner, but I'm not going to call his name. Rev Al, they messing with me. I need to meet with you. They really messing with my business. I said, wasn't you out there with Trump? Oh, that's right. They done indicted Trump in 2 places. He can't help you now. We must understand, as we organize this August 26th march, is that, and I'm asking everybody to come, the students, because of student debt, the Asians, the Jews, the Latinos, everybody should come, because hate crimes is up everywhere, because we've not had a national outpouring. 60 years ago, when they had the first 1963 March on Washington. Let me tell you the history. Malcolm Byrd, Reverend Malcolm Byrd and I was talking about this the other day. In 1941, A. Philip Randolph, who was the head of the Sleeping Car Porters, which was a black union, threatened to go and march on Washington in 42 when Franklin D. Roosevelt was the president. That right? Or was it Teddy? Which one was you under? Just checking, just checking. Franklin Roosevelt said, wait a minute, don't march. Because let me tell you something about a big march on Washington shakes up the whole world, because everybody watches that. Right. Roosevelt gave them concessions that Truman enforced to integrate the armed services. You got to remember, from slavery and the Civil War all the way to World War II, blacks were still serving in segregated barracks. That's right. That's right. Fighting the same war. But we couldn't sleep in the same barracks with the whites. Couldn't eat at the table with them till they threatened that march. Then in 57, they had the prayer pilgrimage in Washington. 63 was the end of other marches planned or that happened. What ignited the march in 63 was there had been freedom riders, students, that had been going into the South, messing with interstate travel. You was not supposed to ride the Greyhound bus up front if you were black. And they were getting on the bus, getting beaten on the bus. And it was the pictures of those young students getting beaten. Then in June, they killed Medgar Evers for having a voter drive in Mississippi. It was based on that tragedy that 250,000 people went to Washington August 28th, 1963. Based on that. Well, 60 years later, they just killed affirmative action. They just took away any barring you from using public media to discriminate. They just canceled forgiving student loans. Some of y'all sitting up here now, 40 years old, still paying student loans. They just said in Mississippi, we're not going to hear your case about racist jurors. Why do somebody got to beg you to get on a bus or a train or in your car to go and stand up when 60 years ago your grandparents, who had to ride the back of buses to get to Washington, who couldn't stop at a public toilet, who couldn't go to a restaurant, but they found a way to stand up, and you got more convenience than they got, and somebody got to beg you to stand up for yourself. I was in New Orleans, stood next to the mother of the young lady, shot and killed, woman shot through the door and killed her. A.J. Owens. 3 weeks before they shot her, they shot a young man through the door in Kansas City. You're in an era where they don't even got to open the door and call you the N-word, just shoot through the door. You're worthless. Mean nothing to them. If you don't stand up now, it's only going to get worse. If you don't stand up now, your children will ask one day, when all this was going on and they tried to stand up, where were you? What did you do? We have lost our fighting spirit. That's why I've challenged the ministers, the businessmen, all of them, that there comes a time when all of us got to stand up. Well, you know, Sharpton and Martin Luther King III and them called a march. I don't know. Well, you didn't call one. Wasn't like I interfered with your calling one. They always saying, Orlando, well, here goes Sharpton again. It ain't like I got to get online. Yeah, he there for George Floyd, then he there for this, then he there for that. I wasn't interrupting nobody. Wasn't like it was 10 leaders out there wanting to go. You are more energized by your jealousy. Sharpton always on the TV. In action. I ain't on the TV on Housewives. They didn't even let me on Claim to Fame. They took Dominique. I'm out there marching. I'm out there raising sand for you, and you mad at somebody that stand up for you. Something wrong with you. We must know the times. And let me drive this point home. Everybody in the Bible, want the preachers watch us on Impact Saturday morning. I want y'all to understand this. Everybody in the Bible, God called them to deal with the issues and conditions in the time they lived. God never called a preacher, prophet, overseer, bishop, whatever your title, he never called you out of the time in which you live. Marsha, this is the first generation where we exalt people in the high titles in the church that are experts on what God did rather than are vessels of what God does. Don't tell me what God did at the Red Sea if you're not prepared to part the waters of right-wing white supremacy right now. If God could deal with liberation in the Bible, God can deal with liberation right here. I go to folks' churches. Say, Reverend Al, I know you're a civil rights leader, but just stay in the word. Well, what word you got? I mean, I respect you inviting me. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. But tell me what word you got. I mean, I didn't get your Bible. The Bible I got, the second book of the Bible, was the Exodus of slaves.
That's right.
And Moses led a liberation movement.
Yes.
And Joshua set up a state of liberation.
That's right.
What Bible you got? You don't believe politics? David became king. That was a political position. Solomon became king. They fought for the crown. That's politics. So give me your Bible. I didn't get the Negro version. They sentenced Jesus to death for stirring up the masses. They sentenced him to death because he was drawing thousands of people that couldn't afford doctors and healing their body. He was opening blind eyes. That's why he was a threat. And it was the leaders of the church, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that says he's not following our law. I worship a lawbreaker to bring on the law as we are in earth as it is in heaven. Ain't nowhere in the Bible tell you to deal out of context. You're in the age of them trying to re-enslave or limit people that God has said these are my people. But if you're not willing to stand up for them, then sit down and shut up and let some of us that know God will hold us up stand up and say what needs to be said. Right now, you better be careful. You know these folk crazy. Look what they did January 6th. I saw them. But the God I serve, not the one you talk about, but the one I know, said no weapon. I don't care how many MAGA folk they got. No weapon. I don't care what they plan. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Let me tell you something. Let me go in this book. I'll let you go. I was reading. We run through it a lot, Malcolm Bird, but I want y'all to really look at it. God can't use you until you come back into the acknowledgement of who you are. I was studying this whole thing. We talk about Moses. They say in the scripture that Moses was born an Israelite. Is that right? Y'all with me? He was born at a time they were killing the newborn Israelites, males. Mother hid him as long as she could. When she couldn't hide him anymore, had his sister Miriam put him in a basket, put him in a Nile. Went right down to Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh's daughter picked up the basket and raised him as her own. Is that right? Little did he know that the maid servant that Pharaoh's daughter had looking out for Moses was his mother. Something about the spirit of the mama that raised you, something about the connection between child and mother reminds you and links to you as to who you are. Some of us can't help but to fight, because we were raised by people that put fighting in us and put faith in us and then put God will make a way in us. Now watch this. We know the story about Moses had to leave because of what he did, but nowhere did they really explain, Bert. I went through this last 2 days. There was never a real explanation of when Moses found out he wasn't Egyptian, that he was Israelite. There was no real description of when this revelation happened. It's just like all of a sudden they say he saw a man being beaten by the Egyptians, and something in him rose up, and he went and slayed the man that was beating the Israelite. This Egyptian beating him. The brutality woke up something in him. And it was because of that his blood cried from inside. I'm an Egyptian prince, but I'm not going to react in a quiet way to the brutalizing of this man. Why? Because somewhere in me, that man is me. And I'm that man. And that same awakening is what woke up in us when we saw that knee on George Floyd's neck. That same awakening woke up in us when we saw them shoot Owen's girl through the door. That same awakening came up in us when we saw them chokehold that boy on the train. There's something inside you that'll wake up. After he woke up and brutalized the man, watch this. People, he thought nobody saw him slay the man. 2 men came and said, you shouldn't have done that. And they were going to tell on him. That's when he went out. Left Egypt land. Went in the wilderness, met Jethro, married his daughter. And it was out there, sometimes you go through things. That's why I'm so adamant about second chance. Because everybody that has been convicted are not guilty, but even some that are guilty don't mean that God's through with them.
That's right.
All of that Moses went through, he was a murderer and a fugitive. You can't get much worse on the social scale than to be a murderer and a fugitive. And that's where God said, through a burning bush, you go back and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Why didn't God go to seminary and get somebody? Why didn't God go to a Wednesday night Bible class? Why didn't God go to somebody with running in their feet? God took a murderer, fugitive, and made him a liberator. And the object of the first 5 books of the Bible to tell you that I will take anything and exalt him. I don't need you. I can make the rocks cry out. You proud and pompous and self-important folk that got all these titles and robes and rings. I don't need you. I'll take nothing and make something happen. I'll take the rejected and make them the cornerstone. I'll take who you laugh at and I wipe the smile off your face. I'm God. Who do you think you are? I am the one God called. That's who I think I am. I ain't much, but the God I serve don't need much to do much with. We keep letting people reduce us, give us complexes, doubt us. Do you think we can do this? Do we think we can pull it off? Yes, we can pull it off. Look at where we come from. I told them in New Orleans last Sunday, we had 5 black mayors. I got Eric Adams to come down. I got the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, to come. I got mayor of Atlanta to come. They already had the mayor of New Orleans there, the mayor of Cleveland. I said, let's remember now, 1865, 1863, when they signed the Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln signed it, Bishop. We walked off the plantation. Some of us run through this fast. I want y'all to think about this now. Go slow. Walk off the plantation, you free. You have no money. Nothing. Got no property because you've been a slave until that moment. You had no education. It was against the law for you to read and write. You had no family because you couldn't marry. So they free you, stripped, illiterate, with no resources. That's how you walked off the plantation. And in 160 years, you went from that to being the president of the United States. I mean, you underestimate how strong you are. In 4 generations, you went from nothing that built a White House to 4 generations later, a black man with a black wife with 2 black children and a mother-in-law moved in the same White House to run the world. That's why they upset. They never thought we would rise up, but we got up. You thought you brought us here to make you rich. You traded us, brought us here as servants, made us build your plantations, made cotton king, made tobacco road, made you wealthy, never got wages. You thought you made us 3/5 of a man. But what you meant for bad, God made good. We here now. We ain't going nowhere. We running your cities. We running your corporations. We are not slaves no more. We know how to organize now. We're going to turn this stuff around. Ramel, I don't know about all this. Just sometimes I hear you, but I lose confidence. But let me tell you something. If you don't want to read the Bible or whatever religious books you read, if you want to know and see a miracle, get up any Saturday morning and get on the train or the bus or drive your car. You come to 145th Street and look at me. My daddy left us, abandoned us, had an outside child with my stepsister. They laughed at us in the church. Folk used to hear me preach, Orlando, as a boy preacher, laughed and mocked, talked about what my daddy did. But God brought me from disgrace to amazing grace. You want to see a miracle? Come look at me. I stood up for a black girl upstate. They said it was a hoax. They tried to put me in jail. They indicted me on 70 counts. But now I walk in the White House to talk to the President of the United States. Look at me. You don't believe what God can do? Look at me. I'm a walking neon sign that God will make a way. Yes, He will. He may not be there when you want Him, but He's always on time. I'm not going by somebody else's word. I know what He done for me. He picked me up. He turned me around. He turned my midnights into day. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. When I was a boy preacher, my sister used to sing a little bit. And I don't know why they did this morning, but I thought about it. My sister Joy. She had one song she sang. And I heard it earlier today, but I want to do it one more time. The blood that Jesus shed for me. Way back on Calvary. The blood give me strength. I had nothing to lean on. Nobody was on my side, but the blood that give me strength from day to day. I don't care who the president is, it'll never lose its power. It reaches the highest mountain. It goes to the lowest valley. The blood that gives me strength from day to day. They talk about me. They write bad things about me. But the blood will never lose its power. I'm standing on the blood. I'm marching on the blood. I'm going to keep going on the blood. The blood. The blood. The blood. The blood that Jesus shed for me. Way I pour down for me. The love that is strength for me. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Yeah. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today never joined National Action Network. You come to the rallies. If you're here, you ought to sign up and become a member and part of this justice family. If you're here, all you have to do is come down either aisle to me, and we'll sign you up this morning. You listening out in the airwaves, you can call right now and join on the phone, 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, or you can go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. While you're there, register to go with us to Washington for the March on Washington, the continuation march on August 26th. Come on, everybody's singing. Come on, if you're here and want to join, come on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody now. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. All right. Let me say this before I raise the offering. As we got, I did a Zoom call the other day with the AFL-CIO and all of their affiliates. And the one person that I really want to be in Washington with us, and I saw him a couple of weeks ago at the studio, and I had no idea he was here today. I think the most energetic and productive labor leader in the country is Brother Chris Smith. Raise your hand. This brother went and took on Walmart and Amazon, and Jeff Bezos. And they thought that he couldn't organize. And he organized white and black workers. Because this ain't just a one-sided thing. And the thing that I admire about him, I want y'all to get this on there, is he didn't change who he was. A lot of y'all try to fit in to get in. He used to be a rapper. He kept his jewelry, kept his swag. I told him that at the studio. You don't have to be like the folk you fighting the fight. You be yourself. And this brother is a hero in our community and all over town. Give him a big hand. Give him a big hand. I'm glad you with us, brother. I'm glad. All right. And don't change. I told him in that studio, don't change. They used to laugh about me. Al Sharpton out there, that conked hair, long hair. But I never got offended because most folk talking about my hair was bald-headed. They were just jealous. Hardy and Jerry done got old, they ain't got no hair. Mine just moved to the back, but I still got it. All right, I'm gonna raise our offering. Thank you, brother. We're gonna talk. All right. Let me raise our offering. Y'all saw him on the news. He's a giant of organizer. That's right. Y'all should shake his hand. All right, I want everybody to give like you mean business. Do the best of your ability.